I'd like to call the meeting to order. We acknowledge that we are located in Mi'kmaq, the unceded ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sydney Credit Union 84th Annual General Meeting. As Chair of the Board of Directors, I now call the meeting to order. Under the Sydney Credit Union Bylaw, Section 413, it states that the number of members equal to the number of directors plus 5 constitutes a quorum for all meetings of members. I declare we have 96 members in attendance, therefore we have a quorum. If you are able, I'll ask you to please stand for a period of silence in honor of our deceased members. Thank you. At this time, I would like to recognize and welcome the following guests. With us this evening, we have John McCachran, past president of the board, Annette Phillips, former GM from the Manitou Credit Union, Daryl Esovic from Concentra, Greg McPhee from Cumis, Dave Myers, past manager of the Whitney Credit Union, currently with the New Waterford Credit Union, Jeanette Thompson, past board member, Jack Coffin, past president, Gerald Gallant, past president, and Robert Coffin, former CEO of the Sydney Credit Union. This evening's meeting will be conducted using Robert's Rules of Order, following the Sydney Credit Union bylaws and the Nova Scotia Credit Union Act and regulations where applicable. Our parliamentarian for this evening will be Dr. Tom Urbaniak, Professor of Political Science at Cape Breton University. I'd also advise that our scrutineer for the evening, if needed, will be Darren Chesson from the accounting firm of MGM and Associates. Welcome, Darren. I would ask that anyone who is either moving or seconding a motion to please state your name for the corporate secretary for the minutes, as it's difficult sometimes to see hands that are raised. The agenda is on page 1 of the annual report. Are there any changes to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Get that, Jane? And a seconder, please. Call for the question. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. The minutes of the 2018 Annual General Meeting are in your package as well and were made available at all 3 branches for the past week. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the 2018 Annual General Meeting? And a seconder? Call for the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. I'd now like to call on Carol Ripley to discuss the results of the voting survey that was conducted during last year's AGM.
Thank you, Mary Jane. So last year at our AGM, we conducted an informal survey to explore the possibility of expanding the ways that our members can vote for annual meeting. Sydney Credit Union's bylaws currently read as follows. Voting at a meeting of members shall be by a show of hands or by voice response, except where a ballot is demanded by a member entitled to vote at the meeting. So last year, there were 75 surveys completed at the annual meeting, and the results were as follows. So on the question of whether Sydney Credit Union should explore voting methods, 67 members voted yes, 5 voted no, 2 said maybe, and 1 was a spoiled ballot and couldn't be counted. So for the different methods of voting that we were asking about, 56 supported a mail-in voting, whereas 19 did not support mail. In-branch voting was supported by 66 of the votes. 19 did not support in-branch voting. Electronic voting, there were 58 supported. 17 people did not support electronic voting. In-person voting, 70 supported it. 5 did not support in-person voting at the AGM. And those that voted that all those methods should be allowed, 49 of the 75 actually said they think all of those should be allowed. 26 were not in favor of all of them. They were in favor of some portion of them. Some of the comments that were in the surveys as well, the benefits that were mentioned included that it could give more members a voice, weather would not impact the attendance or the number of votes cast. It would allow for votes if people were out of town or they were sick. It could encourage the exercise of someone's democratic right that may not want to come or can't come to a meeting. Some of the concerns that were expressed in the survey were about mail getting lost, so it may not be a good way to vote. They talked about weather reducing meeting attendance, and sometimes tonight may be an example. Tonight I think we have at least 40 some people less than last year, and maybe the weather is a factor. There were concerns about the mail not being secure as a method of voting, and also concerns about how do you ensure then that one member has one vote and that people don't vote more than once. So your board of directors, along with the management team, will research these voting methods that may be available to us, including costs, in 2019. And when we've done that research and we've narrowed down some of our options, there will be a resolution that will be brought to next year's AGM, and it'll be based on that research and a recommendation from your board of directors, as there seems to be a significant number, at least a majority, that were interested in us researching some other methods of voting. So that's the follow-up from the survey last year. Are there any questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll turn the chair back over to the chair.
Thank you, Carol. Is there anything else that's business arising from the minutes that needs to be brought forward that's not already on the agenda? Okay, hearing nothing, I'll now give the report of the Board of Directors. Please let me first take the time to thank you for the honor and privilege to serve as the board chair for 2018. I feel very lucky to be part of an organization that's interwoven into the fabric of the community, one that actively participates in activities and events that forward the community in a positive way, one that's been doing so since 1935. In a time globally when the economy is a challenge, the Sydney Credit Union continues to find ways to maintain a healthy financial position. This is in no small part thanks to the wonderful management and staff at the Sydney Credit Union. They, along with the entire board, work hard to ensure that we are fairly representing all our members. 2018 was an interesting year. From the legalization of cannabis, to the purchase of a pipeline, to changes in NAFTA. Canada and the world is constantly evolving, and we too must evolve. We work hard to plan for changes and to be proactive, not reactive to the situations at hand. You can be assured that as a member of the Sydney Credit Union, you will receive the great banking that you're seeking. But as you know, being a member is about something more. It's about part of being something bigger. It's about being more than a customer. It's about helping to build and shape your community. In 2018, the Sydney Credit Union supported more than 100 not-for-profit groups, community organizations, and events. Events that brought people together in times of celebration and in times of need. This could never happen without you, the member. This is your community contribution and something you should feel proud of. You have entrusted your board of directors to serve you and your credit union. On behalf of the board of directors, thank you for your trust in us. We look forward to continuing to serve you and the Sydney Credit Union in 2019. Can I have a motion to approve the report of the board of directors? May I have a seconder? Are there any questions or comments on the report of the board of directors? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Those against, nay. Abstentions? Motion passed. Thank you. I'd now like to welcome Joe Legg to the mic, Chair of the Nominating Committee, who will give the Nominating Committee report.
Thank you, Mary Jane. The mandate of the Nominating Committee is to ensure that there are at least an equal number of nominations brought to the annual general meeting as there are vacancies. The Nominating Committee met on January the 21st and March 8th of 2019. The purpose of the meetings was to ensure the nominating process followed is in accordance with the bylaws of Sydney Credit Union. The members of the Nominating Committee are myself, Joe Legg, past Chair Doreen Burke, past Chair John McCachran, and our CEO, Carol Ripley. Chief Executive Officer Carol Ripley advised the group of the status of the following 4 directors. Mary Jane Morrison, completing her second 3-year term. Danielle Johnson, who is unfortunately not reoffering. Hugh McKinnon is not eligible to reoffer as he has completed his 12-year mandate. And Blaise McLean is not eligible to reoffer as he has completed his 12-year mandate. In summary, as there are 4 director positions available on the board of Sydney Credit Union as of April 3rd, 2019, annual general meeting. The nominating process was held from January 25th to February 22nd, 2019, according to the timelines established in the Sydney Credit Union bylaws. Your committee reviewed the eligibility of all nominations and confirmed that there were 4 eligible nominations received. All eligible nomination papers were submitted on time and in order, and the committee confirmed all nominees are members in good standing. Accordingly, the following names are put forth by the Nominating Committee to fill the 4 vacancies on the board. Mary Jane Morrison, Michael McIntyre, Ronald Neville, and John Patrick Fitzgerald. With 4 nominations received for 4 vacancies, I wish to confirm that the committee has achieved its mandate by ensuring that there are at least an equal number of nominees for the number of vacancies. Section 5.14 of the Sydney Credit Union bylaws states, where the number of nominees equals the number of vacancies available, those duly nominated shall be declared elected by acclamation. Accordingly, the committee recommends these 4 nominees be declared elected by acclamation. Respectfully committed, Joseph Legge, Chair of the Nominating Committee. Do we have any questions on the process of the Nominating Committee? I would then ask for a, do we have to have a, no? No, we don't. No. That concludes the report of the Nominating Committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Having heard the Nominating Committee report, I declare the nominees elected by acclamation. Can I have a motion to accept the report of the Nominating Committee? Thank you, Hugh. Seconder? Thank you. Call for the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Abstentions? Motion is passed. Thank you. I would now like to introduce the Board of Directors for 2019. As I call your name, please stand and remain standing until all the directors have been introduced. Mike Mumbercat, Dan McDonald, Joe Legge, Jay Holohan, Sarah McCachran, who couldn't be with us this evening, Danielle McKinley, Mike McIntyre. Mike is not with us this evening. Ron Neville, who has sent his regrets, and John Patrick Fitzgerald. And of course, myself, Mary Jane Morrison. I'd now like to welcome Darren Chesson, partner in the accounting firm of MGM and Associates, Chartered Professional Accountants, to present the report of the auditor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here this evening, and it's my pleasure to go through some of the highlights of your financial statements. Page 21 of your annual report is the summary financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2018. And these are a summary statement. The full statement is available for your review either at branch or online, which is about a 53-page document, so plenty of time to look through that. The report that you see there is our opinion in that the summary financial statements are a fair summary of the complete set of statements, as I mentioned, in accordance with international financial reporting standards. And in your financial statements, as you will see on the Statement of Financial Position, I'd like to highlight a couple significant achievements this year. First, the assets, total assets of the credit union has exceeded $200 million for the first time, which is quite a significant achievement. And secondly, your members' equity has increased over $20 million, which again is quite significant, and congratulations on those achievements. During the year, there's been much activity. You'll see that your loans to members grew by about $17.5 million. Your deposits were up by $9.8 million. And because of the spread of the money going out and the money coming in, you see that the cash went down quite significantly and actually is now to the point where some long-term debt or some short-term debt had to be obtained in order to finance the lending going out. But the credit union is in a very solid financial position. The capital base, which is the equity as a percentage of your assets, sits at 10.1%, which is very strong, with minimum requirements under your regulations being of 5%. On the next page is your statement of comprehensive income, and as you might expect with the significant growth, the financial margin, which is the difference between the interest you collect on your loans and the interest you pay on your deposits, has grown by about $500,000. Expenses have remained quite consistent during the year, with the exception of some additional allowance required, which of course is expected somewhat when your loan portfolio is growing. So the income and income taxes. So the income after taxes, after your patronage rebate, is $893,189, which is quite good and has increased from last year. The remaining documents that are in your report are your changes in your members' equity, your cash flow statement, which highlights the thing that I just talked about, money in, money out with lending and deposits, and finally the schedule of expenses, which gives you more details on some of the general occupancy and member security expenses that the credit union experiences during the year. So just to wrap up, I just want to say thank you to the board and the staff of the credit union for everything that they do in the audit process, and I want to congratulate you on the significant achievements and wish you the best of success in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. Are there any comments or questions on the report of the auditor? Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion to accept the report of the auditor? Do you have somebody, Jane? No? Okay, and a seconder? Okay, thank you. Call for the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, nay. Abstentions? Motion is passed. Thank you. I'd now like to ask Carol Ripley to present the report of the Chief Executive Officer.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to provide to you my report as your Chief Executive Officer. I don't intend on reading the written report that can be found in the annual report that was in the bags you collected on your way in during registration. Instead, I am going to do, as I've done in the past, just highlight the key financial performance indicators that I think are the most relevant in your understanding how Sydney Credit Union our financial results for 2018. So this chart shows Sydney Credit Union's asset growth over the previous 5 years, and it has been very healthy. But it really has improved in the last 2 years. We've had quite a bit of growth. So in the current year, our assets grew by 6.6%, or over $12 million. So that means, as Darren already mentioned, that we ended the year with over $200 million in assets, which is a nice milestone to achieve. So this compares with asset growth of 6% last year, or almost $11 million. So it's very similar the last 2 years, the asset growth. So now we'll take a look at where that growth came from. So the loan and mortgage growth was nearly 10.7% in 2018, which is well over our budget of 8.4%. But it means also that it increased by $17 million since last year end. That is huge growth in 1 year. Of that amount, residential mortgages accounted for about $11 million. Commercial lending went up by $3 million. And we do dealer financing as well, and that increased over $2 million in 2018. Of course, with the large growth in mortgages of $11 million, we don't earn as high an interest rate on mortgages as we do for loans, so that does impact how much interest we're going to earn in a year. On the other side of our balance sheet, we have deposits. So this is the amount of monies that everybody deposits in their account. And our deposit growth has not kept up or kept pace with our loan growth over the last few years. So in 2018, This chart shows you that our deposits climbed to $178 million. So that's a 5.8% growth in deposits. Whereas on the previous chart, you saw that our loans grew by 10.7%. In 2017, our deposits here, you can see, grew by 6.2%, but last year, our loans and mortgages grew by 11.9%. So obviously, we can't continue with having our loans well outpacing our deposit growth. So to try and reduce this variance, we are committed to offering exceptionally competitive interest rates to our members who are looking to renew or make new investments. We need your deposits so that we can continue to meet the needs of our borrowing members. So if you have any investments maturing or you just want to earn a little more interest than you can in a savings account, just call the branch and ask to speak to somebody and to discuss your needs. We are open for business and we really would like to get some more deposits in. Refer us to friends if you want. So this chart shows what our interest income has been. So as everyone knows, after the 2008, interest rates were depressed for quite some time. So there were some decreases in interest income for the credit union in 2015 and 2016. In the last couple of years, there have been 2 prime rate changes in both 2017 and 2018. And at the same time, we had double-digit loan and mortgage growth over the same period. So together, those 2 impacts means that our interest income has climbed the last couple of years. Right now, the recent forecasts are indicating that we should not expect a Bank of Canada rate increase in 2019, in contrast to previous estimates just a short while ago. So things in our economy change quite fast. However, the increases that we did have in our interest rates over the last 2 years has certainly improved our interest income results, and we've had an 11.9% increase in our income this year in 2018. Darren mentioned our gross financial margin, and that's the difference between the interest income we earn versus the interest we pay to our members on their deposits. Sydney Credit Union's gross financial margin on this slide is the red line. And we compared ourselves to both the Atlantic Credit Union system, which is the blue line, and the Nova Scotia Credit Union system, which is the green line. So we've been very successful in having a gross financial margin that has been very stable for Sydney Credit Union. So that has been very, very good for Sydney Credit Union. In this year, the gross financial margin has been decreasing a little bit, but this year with the rate increases in the last couple of years, it has improved. So this gross financial margin, plus any other revenue we can earn, such as service charges, must be enough to pay for all of our operating expenses as well as our loan losses. Anything that's left over after expenses and loan losses is our profit. So although our gross financial margin is somewhat better than the average credit union in Nova Scotia and the Atlantic, it still needs to be high enough to cover all of our other expenses. And we are paying very competitive rates on our deposits, and also we are charging competitive rates on our loans and mortgages. And we need to do that because we have to keep attracting new members and retaining the members we do have. Another key metric for us is this called an efficiency ratio. And this ratio means the lower is a better thing. So we have made some efficiency gains over the last couple of years. Further improvements, although we would like to have them, may prove elusive. So for 2018, where we landed, again, we're the red line, we're kind of right in the middle of the average. So we're in a pretty good spot right now. We have seen some improvements. What this graph is telling us is that it costs us 83 cents in operating expenses to generate $1 in gross margin. So further improvements would still be required if we are to compete effectively with much bigger, more cost-efficient financial institutions. But further gains are hard to make, and we are working hard at it, but it is very, very difficult to move that needle significantly. This, unfortunately, is not as good news as I would like to give this year. Last year, I was pleased to let you know that we had decreased our loan write-offs by $200,000 last year, so the purple bar was quite a bit lower than the previous year. But this year, our write-offs increased another $100,000. So it's still less than it was the previous 2 years to that, but still not where we want it. So we did do some work on this last year, but we plan on spending quite a bit more time on it, reaching out to our members if we sense that they may be struggling to make their payments. We hope that if we are more proactive and let our members know that we're there to help, that we can reduce our write-offs. Because writing off $700,000, that's an expense that comes right off of our bottom line, and it's very expensive. So Sydney Credit Union also are increasing the number of financial literacy sessions that we're going to be offering in our community in 2019. Because again, if people are a little more financial literate, then they may not find themselves getting into trouble and not being able to make their payments as they're due. The net result for 2018, I'm delighted to report that our net income has increased again this year. Our net income was just under $900,000, and that was after paying income taxes of $400,000 this year, which is a significant jump from last year. So this, the bars in this chart, that's where our net income is, and the left column is where you can see how the income lines up. The right side of the chart, the right vertical, the 300,000, 200,000, that's the patronage rebate measure. So you can see when our income was going down, that line went down, so our patronage rebate had to drop. But as our income has been improving, we've increased our patronage rebate again. So this year, this has allowed us to increase our rebate to $260,000, which is an increase of 30% over last year's rebate. And if you didn't look at your credit union account today, you should, because the rebates went in your accounts today. So you can take out your phone and check your app and see what your rebate was today, because all the deposits would have been made today. Letters have been mailed yesterday and today to everybody to let them know what their rebate is. So obviously we can't rebate out all of our income. Retaining some income is of course critical to our success, as we need to invest in the future. Technology is constantly changing, and the younger generation want access to everything digitally, and they want everything at their fingertips, and they want it now. And we need to ensure that we attract the youth to our credit union if we expect to grow and prosper. So we do have to invest in those technologies that are so key. Darren also mentioned our equity position. You should feel very secure in knowing that Sydney Credit Union has double the minimum equity required in Nova Scotia. This allows us to withstand some lean years if necessary, without putting undue pressure on our operations. And although our members' equity as a percentage of assets did decrease slightly this year, the $12 million increase in assets was actually partially to blame. So whenever we grow $1 million in assets, we need to make $100,000 net income to keep our equity at 10%. So it is quite a challenge. But also, the higher income allowed us to pay out a higher rebate this year. So we paid out $60,000 more in 2018 in rebates than we did, or for 2018 than we did for the previous year. The other trend that's very important is membership trends. And it's a very important measure for Sydney Credit Union, and I say arguably it's our most important measure because it's always about the members. So while this chart, the blue bars are our new members, the green bars are our, sorry, have that backwards. The blue bars are the members' accounts that were closed in the year. The green bars are the new accounts that were opened. And then the red bars are just the net of those two numbers. So while our new members have increased again in 2018, so the green is higher than it was last year. We did 1,000 new accounts this year versus last year's 945. We closed almost 300 fewer accounts in 2018 than we did in 2017. So that means we had an end result of the year of a net increase in members of 141 members. It may not sound like much, but it reverses a trend where our membership was declining the previous 4 years. So I think that's a huge positive that we're seeing a net increase in members year over year, and hopefully we can continue that and keep that growing. Of course, we continue to promote ourselves as offering truly local banking, and we do that. We want to invite potential members to join our credit union if they want to be more than a customer, and if they want to be part of an organization that will help them to build their community while at the same time treating them with fairness and equality. And finally, we welcome your feedback anytime and encourage you to let us know if you see where improvements can be made at our credit union. So in closing, I would like to thank our staff and the management team for your tremendous support in 2018. Our employees continue to demonstrate their professionalism and their commitment to our members and our community, and I can't thank them enough. To the board, you have been a source of wise counsel and inspiration, and I continue to value your incredible contributions and leadership as we look ahead to a bright future. And most importantly, to you, the members, I want to say thank you. We would not have enjoyed such a successful year without your support and patronage. And as a member, you play a pivotal role in the success of Sydney Credit Union. So thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Are there any questions for Carol? Can I have a motion to accept the report of the Chief Executive Officer? Can I get a seconder? Cal, for the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Abstentions? Motion is passed. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Could we have the name of the seconder again, please? Oh, thank you, Jeanette. I now call upon Jay Holohan, Chair of the Audit Committee, to make the motion for the accounting firm for 2019.
Good evening, everybody. As Chair of the Audit Committee, it gives me pleasure to make the motion that the accounting firm of MGM and Associates, Chartered Professional Accountants, be appointed as auditors for the 2019 year for Sydney Credit Union.
Thank you, Jay. Do we have a seconder for Jay's motion? You have that, Jane? Okay. Okay, call for the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Abstentions? Motion is passed. I'll now call upon Carol Ripley to come forward to present the Employee Service Awards.
It's on. I think I'm on. Okay, I would now like to take a few minutes to acknowledge 12 staff members tonight who have reached milestones with Sydney Credit Union during the past year. And we feel it's very important to recognize these individuals in front of you, the members. So the first recipient reached her 5-year milestone in July of 2018. She presently holds the title of receptionist at the Sydney River branch. Courtney Filippo, please come forward to receive your award. The second recipient also received his 5-year milestone in July of 2018. He presently holds the title of Digital Media Coordinator at the Sydney branch. Mark Carabin, please come forward to receive your awards. Our third recipient reached her 5-year milestone in May of 2018. She presently holds the title of Member Services Representative at the Whitney branch. Natalie Rutherham, please come forward to receive your award. Congratulations, Natalie. Our fourth recipient received his 5-year milestone in February of 2018. He presently holds the title of IT Manager at the Sydney River branch. Chris Parsons, please come forward to receive your award. Congratulations, Chris. Our fifth recipient reached her 10-year milestone in October of 2018. She presently holds the title of Member Services Officer at the Sydney branch. Krista Curry, please come forward to receive your awards. Congratulations, Krista. Our sixth recipient also reached her 10-year milestone in October of 2018. She presently holds the title of Assistant Branch Manager at the Sydney branch. Adrian Collins, please come forward to receive your award. Do you want me to come down? Congratulations, Adrian. Thanks. Our seventh recipient reached her 10-year milestone in August of 2018. She presently holds the title of Member Services Officer at the Whitney branch. Bobby Ann Lansaleeve, please come forward to receive your award. I didn't do this. Congratulations. Our eighth recipient reached her 15-year milestone in September of 2018. She presently holds the title of Commercial Account Manager at the Sydney branch. Frances McDonald, please come forward to receive your award. Our 9th recipient reached her 15-year milestone in May of 2018. She presently holds the title of Teller Supervisor at the Sydney branch. Carol Lee Kerrigan, please come forward to receive your award. Congratulations. Everybody loves this.
I know.
Thank you. Our 10th recipient also reached her 15-year milestone in May of 2018. She presently holds the title of Accountant at the Sydney River branch. Karen McNeil, please come forward to receive your award.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our final recipient reached her 30-year milestone in May of 2018. She presently holds the title of Financial Services Officer at the Sydney branch. Jackie Young, please come forward to receive your award. Congratulations, Jackie. Thank you. And the following recipient was unable to join us this evening. Connie McNeil reached her 15-year milestone in February of 2018, and she presently holds the title of Financial Services Officer at the Sydney branch. And that's it.
Thank you, Carol, and congratulations to all of those who have received service awards this evening. Right now, I'd like to ask you to please join me in welcoming Eileen McNeil from Under One Umbrella for a demonstration of how the Sydney Credit Union contributes to the health and wellness of our community through our partnership.
I need my clicker. Technology's great when it works well. Oh, that would be great. Oh, there we go. Thank you. So good evening, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to tell you a little bit about an event that happens once a year here in Sydney. It's called Under One Umbrella. The goal of Under One Umbrella is to provide free support services under one roof in one day to those who are homeless or at risk of homelessness in the CBRM. In order to strengthen the skills, the links between people and social supports, we partner with business and community to make this event a success. We're able to provide this free event free of charge because we have many donated services and items. Through a grant from the federal government's homelessness initiative, we provide each participant with a comfort kit that includes some basic items like toothpaste, deodorant, razors, items that we take for granted when we go out shopping, but people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness have difficulty in accessing these items. Local chefs partner to provide a beautiful full-service meal for the participants. And we hear comments like, "This is the first time I've had a meal like this. This is like Christmas." They're so grateful. This year we fed almost 600 people. The participants that come are not judged, nor do we ask for an income test. It's very embarrassing for these folks who find themselves in this situation, So why make it even worse when we offer a day where they can come and just be treated like everybody else and have services and have a beautiful meal and be welcomed in the community? How do they find out about the event? Well, they find out about it through the food banks, the Ally Center, other community groups and organizations, and government agencies that they're aligned with, like Department of Community Services or Public Health. We have about 100 volunteers who help us set up and run the event each year. So just managing the volunteers is a big task in itself. The picture that you're looking at here is the room where we store the donated clothing and bedding until we move it to Center 200, which is where the event is held every year now. It's a very large room, and as you can see, it's filled to the ceiling and the door with donated clothing and items and bedding. And this comes from individuals who donate to us, from the churches who gather clothing through their congregations, and anyone else who is willing to donate some clothing and bedding. This next picture, you'll see the truck as it's pulling up and parked at Center 200. This year, Easy Home was very generous to donate this very large truck so that we only had to make one trip from the location where the clothing was stored to Center 200. And of course, there were a couple of other other trucks that were used as well, just people's personal trucks. In the other two pictures, you'll see people actually unloading, and those are our committee members, the Under One Umbrella committee members who help. It's an enormous task just dealing with the clothing for this. Again, you'll see we use shopping carts to get the clothing from the truck into Center 200. This year, we were able to have the entire ice surface at Center 200. We pretty well had all of Center 200. We used the concourse and the main area. We used upstairs where we had some hearing testing going on, and there's childcare that's provided free so that parents can bring their children. Somebody will look after them while they're getting their services or clothing or whatever. So in this next picture, you'll see that we are sorting some clothing. It takes us about 3 days to sort through the clothing and then put it in order of men's, women's, children, bedding. Again, we have volunteers here. Many of the churches will send their CWL members to help us out. And I must say that the Sydney Credit Union every year sends 7 volunteers, along with Cindy, to help us on the day of the event. And they act almost like personal shoppers for people who are coming in looking for clothing. They know where various items are, and it makes the flow of the room go much easier. The clothing is one of the most popular items of the event. Some people even have to do their Christmas shopping for their children in that room for the clothing. And the Sydney Credit Union volunteers have been fabulous for the past couple of years since they've been involved. So thank you very much for that. So the planning committee, of course, there's a planning committee that oversees this initiative, and we start planning probably, I think our first meeting will be in 2 weeks' time, so that we can plan for the event. And the committee consists of staff from Public Health, Department of Community Services, Community Housing, Pathways to Employment, Child and Adolescent Services, Eskasoni Mental Health, Addiction Services, and a few community-minded individuals who also sit on the committee to help us plan and organize. And the event itself is sponsored by Public Health and Pathways to Employment. So what happens when our participants get to the event? Well, they can get a free haircut, and many of them, this is their only haircut for the year, so they're very, very grateful. It's another very popular spot at the event. They can see a doctor, and I don't have to tell anybody here how difficult it is if you don't have a doctor to actually have some medical issues looked at. They can have foot care. They can talk to a pharmacist about any issues they have with medications. They get their flu shots, which is very important. Public health staff is there to give them their flu shots. They can have a massage, and it's very important for them to have this. Of course, they have the free clothing. They have their income tax done. Canada Revenue Agency has 2 booths that they set up during the event, and anybody who wishes to have their income tax prepared so that they can receive their GST, certainly have that. They can apply for their social insurance number and their IDs. Many of these people are very transient. They're moving from place to place and lose their ID. So this is a way of them being able to get their ID and be able to open up a bank account or have that ID for other purposes that they need. They also talk to Department of Community Services staff to ensure that they are getting the benefits that they are entitled to, or if they're having an issue, they can talk to them about that. And housing is a very important issue. Many people can't afford housing, so they can talk to the Island Housing Authority or Nova Scotia Housing about how they might qualify for subsidized housing. So, as I said, we pull this off every year with very little money, many donated services and items. I'm very happy to say that the past couple of years, we've received a large donation from the Sydney Credit Union. I can't tell you how grateful we are for this donation. It really, really helps. And then, as coordinator of the event, I am tasked with going out and talking to individuals and businesses to try and get them to make some monetary donations or in-kind donations for the event as well. And I must say that the business and the people in this community are very good to donate. As the event grows each year, in the beginning, it's 5 years old now. In the beginning, we started out with 217 participants. This year, we had 914 participants. Halifax has a similar event. I mean, this event happens all over Canada at one time or another. In Halifax, it's called Halifax Connects. And I'm sad to say that our numbers have exceeded Halifax's numbers this year. Halifax gets a little over 800 people, and we had 914. So the need is great. However, the event itself is so wonderful, and it provides so much comfort and happiness and joy to the people who really need it. We don't do an income test for people. It's embarrassing to do that. People come because they need to come, not because they have everything they want. They just want to come in and get more. So as our numbers grow, the need for donations grows. So I will appeal to you tonight, if you can find it in your heart personally, to donate some monetary, some clothing, some bedding items. We would greatly appreciate it. And again, I would like to thank all of you for the donation that Sydney Credit Union makes to us each year on your behalf. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. Wonderful event. Thank you so much, Eileen, for informing our members about Under One Umbrella and how you support our community. It's a very important service. That presentation was just one of the many community groups that Sydney Credit Union has supported. Now we'll show you some more in a video prepared by our marketing department to share the community impact that your credit union has made in 2018.
Sydney Credit Union prides itself on being truly local banking, and they truly live and breathe that sentiment. So from the charities they support to the staff volunteering for tons of events throughout the year to the way that the team interact with the members, that's what it's all about, is supporting our local Cape Breton community.
Credit Union is the one institution in Cape Breton that is doing things for our community. They're making sure that events are happening. They're making sure that sports teams are, financially feasible. They're actually getting out there on a one-to-one basis in our community, talking to people and assisting them to make sure that our community has the means to continue on.
Currently expanding as the school grows into a second campus involving the renovation of a 36,000 square foot school building, including a full gym, full set of locker rooms, full science lab, art room, music room, spacious classroom setting in Sydney Mines. And the Sydney Credit Union, again, is a very important part of that becoming reality.
A series for seniors last year in which we were able to reach out to the Sydney Credit Union for support on doing workshops on financial issues for seniors.
We'd like to thank Sydney Credit Union for coming on board again this year as one of our major community sponsors.
And hereby proclaim August 3rd to 11th, 2018 as Pride Week in the Cape Breton Regional Municipality.
I think the Sydney Credit Union has a major impact in the community. There's so many levels which I see that Sydney Credit Union is involved in the community, from getting involved with community events and activities, with sponsorships, their educational commitment with scholarships and involvement in almost every educational institution in Cape Breton, as well as providing loans to small businesses, and also with the charitable fund that Sydney Credit Union has, which is excellent as well. So I really think that with all those elements, that they really understand what the community needs, from a perspective of supporting, the growth in terms of activities and culture. It's very important.
Thank you to our marketing department for the preparation of this video. I don't know about any of you, but it certainly makes me even more proud to be a member of the Sydney Credit Union. At this time, I'd like to take a few moments to thank Hugh McKinnon and Blaise McLean for their time as directors with the Sydney Credit Union. They have provided 12 years of faithful service to the credit union on your behalf, the members. Blaise and Hugh were valued members of the board, and we'll certainly miss their knowledge and their awareness of the credit union system, their preparation for board meetings, and their willingness to step up and to chair standing committees of the board. All of their efforts were certainly appreciated. We thank you both for your commitment and dedication, and we wish you the very best in your future endeavors. At this time, I'd like to check with you to see if there is any other new business that you'd like to bring forward. Hearing none, I'd like to call on Carol Ripley to draw for the door prizes.
Just like to thank all the donors for these door prizes. I'll just list them. We had Ziggy's Pub and Grill, Smitty's Family Restaurant, Atlantic Central and League Savings and Mortgage, League Data Limited, Cumis, Nova Scotia Cudic, Concentra Bank, NSCC Marconi Campus, Member 2 Trade and Convention Center, Fiddler's Run, Port of Sydney, Home Hardware, Breton Toyota, Noel's Country Market and Wilson's Gas Bar, Rotherham's Source for Sports, McKillop's Flowers, Applied Wealth Strategies, Cape Breton University, Guardian Alarms, Lotherington's Flowers, Tigger's Draperies and Blinds, the Breton Law Group, and Prudential Marquis Realty. First number, last 4 digits, 2449. If you have that, oh, could I ask the management team? I already did it. Didn't even have to ask them. 2449, is there a hand up in the room anywhere? Can you see it? Oh, thank you. 2479. 2483. 2474. 2474. 2459. Yeah, over here. 2461. 2460. 2464. 2466. I think they're all stuck together. 2476. 2432. 2451. See any? 2429. 2428. 2473. 2446. 2447. 2481. 2458. Oh, right there. 2445. 2468. 2444. 2437. 2462. Down the back. Keep your hand up. 2440. 2463. 2453. 2482. 2457. 2465. 2478. 2469. 2450. 2455. 2472. 2477. 2454. 2480. 2436. 2436. Oh, down the back. 2470. The front. 2452. 2443. 2442. We're down to the last one. The last one is a what size TV? 43-inch Toshiba. The winner is number 2439. Hey, awesome. Thank you to the management team for helping out with that, and to all the winners, congratulations. They're just setting up the food, so in a couple of minutes we'll just have a bite to eat. And I thank you all very much for coming out, especially on such a miserable night. Thank you.
Just like to echo Carol's comments. Thank you very much for coming out this evening on such a miserable evening. We just have one more bit of business to attend to. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Hugh McKinnon. Thank you.